Hello, welcome back. Okay, we're going to bring you up to date on one of our top stories this hour. Wednesday's crackdown sparking protests across Spain, with the largest taking place in the Catalan capital, Barcelona, with some 40,000 people taking to the streets. We can now cross live to our guest, Mr. Adam Price from the Welsh Assembly. Mr. Price, thank you for joining us on the programme. I know we lost you earlier. It's good to have you back. Now, let's talk about this referendum. Even if it is allowed to go ahead, Madrid will not accept the result as legal. So what's the point in voting in it?
Well, look, I think the key issue here is that there is a fundamental right of peoples everywhere to decide on their own future. I mean, it's enshrined, as we know, in the United Nations Charter, the right of nations to self-determination. And, this is, I think, troubling for parliamentarians across the whole of Europe, indeed for citizens, because, what we're seeing, this escalating use of force by the Spanish state against the right of the Catalan people to choose their own future, it's the worst breach of democratic rights that we've seen in European democracy since, the generals' coup in Greece at the end of the 1960s. It's clearly a violation of the fundamental principle of the Council of Europe, which Spain is a member of, but also the European Union. Article 7 of the Treaty of the European Union clearly states that there has to be respect for democratic governance, and Spain is now in raiding political parties, raiding the press, threatening a mass arrest of over 700 mayors and the president, the vice president elect of the Catalan Generalitat. Spain now has clearly stepped the mark, and there are dark echoes here, of course, of Spain's authoritarian past.
It seems like we're having a bit of a case of déjà vu here. The UK, too, has seen a drive towards independence, most notably with Scotland's referendum. But there are also those in Wales who want to break away from London. Is it an exaggeration to say that this is becoming something of a trend in Europe?
Well, I think it's true, isn't it, that the tectonic plates, if you like, are shifting everywhere as there is an awakening desire amongst nations and peoples to actually be free to chart their own course. That certainly is the case. And in Kurdistan, of course, on Monday next week, there's also a desire to have an independence referendum. And once again, in a direct parallel with Catalonia, we're seeing an attempt by the Iraqi state government to thwart the legitimate desire of the people of that nation to chart their own future.
OK, Welsh Assembly member Adam Price, thank you for joining us on the programme, sir.